their bodies. We can't ignore this. It's a category, as I said, it's a topic that makes people uncomfortable, but I believe that this is an area of science that we hoped would be used for good, and now it is being used for evil.
It's just because you think queer people are evil.
A global ban on the practice. Take a listen to what he had to say in recent remarks.
Ritengo desprecabile la pratica della cosiddetta maternità surrogata che lede gravemente la dignità della donna e del figlio.
Oh, what's up? What's up? All these people always getting in my ads, my mentions, being like, hey, Lance, by the way, the Pope has done some pretty cool things. He's saying maybe like the gays aren't all super evil, degenerate losers. He's better than this. Like, oh, the bar is so low, though. Come on. Yeah, honestly, if he's going to be like, you know what, maybe today not all of you should go out and kill gay people. Yeah, that I technically a little bit better than some of the other ones. If he's like, hey, today I'm not going to cover up all these child rapes that are taking place. I'm not going to do that today. That's not what I'm. Then yes, he's been better than previous popes, I guess, slightly. If he's like, I'm going to clean your feet while also not covering up all the child rape that my organization is doing, then yes, by the standards, he's a little better. Then it doesn't mean that they're going to be good, though. There's no good pope. There's not such a thing. I'm sorry to disappoint you. You know, there's never going to be someone who's supposed to be the vicar of God on earth, the absolute supreme authority, and also be a good person. No one human being, no one man should ever be the vicar of God on earth. That's just not a thing. Yeah. Someone's like, would you want to be? No. Never. Are you serious? No. God damn it. Every time he shits, he has to remind himself that this is like a preordained monument to the Lord, our God. Like, what the fuck?
Essa è fondata
It's weird.
sullo sfruttamento di una situazione di necessità materiale della madre. Un bambino è sempre un dono e mai l'oggetto di un contratto.
Now, if you are listening to the podcast and you did not see the subtitles on that, I will tell you what he said. He said, I deem deplorable the practice of so-called surrogate motherhood, which represents a grave violation of the dignity of the woman and
Now, here's going to be my 2 cents, because we've never had the surrogate talk. I don't think so. I don't think we brought it up. The discourse, if you will. It's the hottest topic. It's what everyone's talking about. It's why you're here and watching me live right now. You want to hear my spicy takes on surrogacy. I think if you're forced in an economic situation to have to do surrogacy, that's bad. It's kind of like just like the forced labor and exploitation of someone and someone else's body in direct contradiction to something that they'd rather be doing. And it also sounds very, very hard. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of labor is usually exploiting your own body in ways you didn't want to be exploited previous to that labor being commenced. But I think if you're someone who wants to gift someone surrogacy, well, you should be allowed to do that. That's a many splendid and beautiful thing. And if you're like a family member and you found out that one of your other family members is barren, a person who can give birth for whatever reason can't do it, and you're like, I want to help you out, I'm down. Just obviously cover my expenses for the next 9 months, and we'll see what happens. Right? Then, yeah, I think you should absolutely be allowed to do that. Nothing wrong with that in any way, shape, or form,
the child based on the exploitation of situations of the mother's material needs.
Yeah, it's people trying to police other people's bodies once again. Like, should you have the right to donate a kidney to save your own, children's lives? I hope so. I don't think you should ever be forced to have to do that. I don't think a rich person should be able to come up to you and be like, hey, I want to party all day and all night, so I'm gonna need some more organs. You look poor. Yeah, I can harvest you, right? No. This should not be allowed to happen. Because it's going to. I know it already does in one way or another, so let's not do that. It's probably just bad.
A child is always a gift and never the basis of a commercial.
I'm adopted. My mother was an unintentional surrogate. All right.
Contract. Now, I know that this is quite a touchy subject. I know when I read the comments.
Not for me. I got through it so easy. Yeah, I already had my ideas formulated.
I had been talking about this a lot last year. I was a person that I would say years ago supported surrogacy because I couldn't see anything that would be wrong with it. Because in my mind, and I'm sure in the mind of many people that are listening to this, you picture this being an industry that was built for the mother who tried to have children for 10 years and, put up her.
Oh, I already see where this is going. So this used to be for hard-working mommies who just couldn't, for one reason or another, conceive. Yes, and now it's for the queers. The evil, degenerate queers who can't reproduce on their own. Yeah, can't use the penis and the V to make God's children. I'm guessing. Could be something else.
Bunch of gay married men that were
There it is. Luxurious. Those pesky rich gays. You know, they want accessories. It used to be they used to adopt children and stuff like that. Not anymore. You know, they would have like a Taiwanese baby or a Sudanese baby, but now it's they make the babies with their cum and surrogates. Disgusting.
were coming in and deciding that they could afford to use a woman to carry their child. They're not emotionally attached to the process.
There's definitely a problem of the extreme wealthy, the extreme rich. I think Grimes did this. I could be wrong. Okay, I'm not gonna be held accountable for these statements or anything I say in general. But I think that there is a problem that people are explicitly say traveling or using tourism as a way to be able to exploit people in other countries to try and cheaply impregnate them for the purposes of surrogacy and doing it purely as well. I just don't want to have to do the whole pregnancy thing. Right, like I don't want to. So I you know, like as a Kardashian, can afford to do so. So I'm going to get a woman in India to, you know, have my baby, but it won't be their baby. It'll be like, you know, my egg, someone else's sperm. We're going to fertilize it, and then we're going to, you know, have the woman in another country basically carry it to term, and then we just get the baby back, and I don't have to do the pregnancy thing. Right? If that's the case, then yes, I'm pretty sure every single person would come and speak out in the same regard, saying that seems deeply exploitative of someone, especially in poor economic situations, and being done by the very wealthy and privileged. Yeah, that's weird. That's really different than a couple who's in love, who for whatever reason, because this happens to straight couples, oh, let me tell you, in my age range, when you're getting into your late 30s, early 40s, a lot of your friends are trying to have kids, and a lot of your friends are trying to have kids unsuccessfully. Yeah, for whatever reason, the sperm isn't what it used to be, all right? Cum is not as powerful as it once was, and a lot of other reasons, by the way. There's socioeconomic reasons, there's like, you can go through the list, but yeah, straight couples are having trouble having babies. Not all of them. Some of them it's just like, whoa, and then boom, we have a whole bunch of babies. But like a lot of people are spending lots and lots of money trying to conceive, trying to do everything they can. And in a lot of cases, once they realize that there's nothing else that they can do, they start looking into surrogacy. Surrogacy in Canada, if you didn't know this, it is illegal to run like a surrogacy business, in the sense that you can't suddenly be like, yo, I'm renting my womb out. It's going to be like $2 million. You want it? Come get it kind of shit. You can't do that. You can gift people, or as in you can say to like a family member or something, yeah, I will be your surrogate mother, or I'll help you, or I'll do whatever I can. Because as of this moment in time, while we are working on the technology, like we've made, what is it, baby goats and eggs and stuff like that, we still don't have the ability to have artificial wombs carry children to birth. And once we do, then maybe this conversation will change entirely. But until that point, here we are. Candace Owens does not have trouble with, I believe, the straight couples doing it, and if it's specifically because there is no other way to be able to conceive. Obviously, this is the gift of God. Everyone needs and wants a child, but it's the gays. This one comes down to those evil, pesky gays.
Attach the process whatsoever, because they do not have that maternal instinct. The high rates of miscarriage that happens, these gay couples are not attached to that process. They don't care. They don't, whatever, find us another woman that will carry this child. I have seen that up close, and in recognizing how that.
You notice how Candace and a lot of right-wingers do this thing where they tell you anecdotes a lot, as if that's like a part of the story that factualizes what they've stated prior. Like if you say a sentence, you're like, and I've seen this firsthand, you know, my own personal experience. This definitely happened. Real thing that happened. And I mean, some of these surrogacy centers, unfortunately, it's poor, desperate women who come in there and they'll do anything for money. And then all these horrifying rich gays, they just show up and they throw money at them. And they're like, hello, we want a baby. And they just throw all these dollar bills all over the place. And they're powerless. These poor mothers, they can't do anything. They have to sit back and be like, oh my God, yes, whatever you say, rich gays, God.
Was taking place to realize that this industry could go awry, and it has. In addition to that, not just talking about gay married men that are abusing this, we are also seeing people that already have kids. We talked about Chrissy Teigen. I've already got 2 kids, but I've already got 3 kids, but I want 1 more. Women that just didn't want to selfishly give their bodies and want to have a child at 54 years old. I can afford it, and I wanted my career, and now I want to find.
All right, so hey, it's not just the gays who are going to be getting it hard this time. Also happens to be people who are career-driven. Feminists. Feminists, your time expired. You knew you had the womb clock. Were you not counting down the days? Did you freeze your eggs? So selfish. So selfish. You would freeze your own eggs so that you could perhaps at a later time conceive at a different method if you so choose. Disgusting.
Find some women that will simply give me a child. Pay attention to the surrogates that are talking about how they lived through this process and what it did to their bodies. We can't ignore this. It's a category, as I said, it's a topic that makes people uncomfortable. But I believe that this is an area of science that we hoped would be used for good, and now it is being used for evil.
It's just because you think queer people are evil. Like, she laid it out so clear. She was like, okay, so just so everyone knows, I thought surrogacy was a beautiful, wondrous idea where apparently, you know, single moms who, for one reason or another, they couldn't conceive or they were barren, at this moment in time, they're able to have a baby, and that's a beautiful thing. But then along came the rich gays. The rich fucking gays just throwing money all over the place, wanting babies all of a sudden. It's like the newest accessory. It's in vogue. Now it's become a thing of evil. It's like, well...
And I very much support Pope Francis talking about this, calling for a global ban, calling for people to wake up and recognize what has happened and what is happening in this industry that is now
mustn't trust the Pope, darling.
Unrestricted. It is become almost an industry for the LGBTQ community. And
I'm sorry, what? An industry for the LGBTQ plus community? Like, did you... Names. Anyone, single person who's suddenly become, you know, the breeders of the queer breeders. The queer breeders are here. Hell yeah, we're popping out more babies in the streets. You get a couple pansexuals, some bisexuals involved. Oh yeah, we're gonna dominate. I'm doing my part. I'm willing. Okay, I'm a willing participant.
In the process,
whatever anyone needs.
A denial, in my view, of women's rights. I mean, to even set up a child to not have a mother. You know, knowing that you're going into this saying we're just going to be 2 dads. Children need their mothers. They need their mothers. Infants especially need their mothers. Our entire call biologically, you recognize, is because...
I mean, on a serious note, by the way, this is the same thing that when people dehumanize, say, sex workers and try to say that sex work is all just inherently like rape, you know, Serfs will say that kind of argument or line of argument, or you'll have hardcore conservatives who often overlap a lot with those same groups being like, well, sex work isn't work. They wouldn't be doing that. No one would ever do this, blah, blah, blah. And then you try to explain, well, if you dehumanize what someone does for work, that can contribute directly to the violence those people could experience at the workplace. Because yes, that is a very fucking horrifying reality. They shouldn't have to deal with that. So absolutely, we should not be vilifying and demonizing people who do that. And I also don't want to have to get too far into the whole theory of it all, but like in most of the work that you were doing in one way or another, if you were doing especially manual labor, yeah, your body is being exploited in ways that you normally would not be doing that action or activity for at that period of time. And I'm not saying that like, hey, by the way, are you saying that like not anyone should work? No, we should. If we're able-bodied, we should contribute. We should be able to do a variety of things because yeah, it's a lot less monotonous. As someone who's had to do really shitty fucking like construction and manual labor, just doing that forever for like 60 years, that sounds really intense. Like not something I would want to do continuously, but that we do need things built and roads do need to get made and houses do need to get fixed. And it's great to have plumbers and being handy is a good thing. So yeah, I think, yeah, doing a variety of work, it could certainly work out. Anyways, I'm going way too deep down this pathway. I did want to bring up though, that like, the same thing could be said about women who are, like, again, gifting someone else, and that's an incredibly generous thing. Like, I cannot even wrap my head around for a second what it is not only to be pregnant, but to bring a child to term. It looks incredibly difficult. Like, I am in awe of, you know, women and people who give birth, who do it, and it does not look, I as a cis man will never have the ability to do so until I guess those artificial wombs get built or something like that. And yeah, it looks really hard. It looks very, very difficult in every respect, from mental taxation to physical toll to like, it's just from the start to finish. Incredibly rewarding and unbelievable. And y'all are the creators of life. Like, you're literally gods. That part's pretty cool. You get to be gods among us. That part's neat. But yeah, it looks hard. So obviously, if someone is willing to do it and do, they should be also respected for that work. It does. I wouldn't just call it like unskilled labor. I'd say it looks very, very difficult.
The infant needs to be supported by its mother, right? Our ability to breastfeed, all of these things is because God created us to be able, as the people that are able to raise an infant up.
That's right. Gay men, you can't breastfeed. Where's your milk? Yeah, let's see those titties start lactating. That's right, you need mummy milkers. Only mummy milkers can truly provide for all of us.
From the time that they are young. And I am not liking what I'm seeing in the industry. I will continue to speak about that on this podcast, even though I know that some people are not yet there in recognizing what this industry has become.
Oh, they'll get there. You'll get them all eventually. They're like Pokemon. One after.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Can you please hit the like and subscribe button and maybe leave a comment? It really does help the videos out. But first, the people who produce everything you see before you and make this entire channel possible: Amazing Fletch, Anna Loves Riley, Ariane McCarthy, Cheryl Alvarez, Doug Caddy, Everything Important, Hagbard Celine, Multimondi, Omni, Peanut Butter Blondie, Political Puppy, Quiet 185, Rachel K, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Ruby K, Cernicus, Spinach Monster, Stellar Vision, Sebastian Demel, Trevbot.exe, Words Greenwood, and Travis McClinton. And also, thank you to every other person who helps fund this show. Their names are on the screen right now. It would not be possible without every single one of them. We cannot thank you enough. And if you want to join the Patreon, please come to patreon.com/theserfs and help us exist.